Совершенно иная картина, когда верная кремлевским идеям фигура оказывается на чужом поле, в атмосфере объективной, а не заказной журналистики. Один из недавних случаев – появление в эфире ток-шоу «Лицом к лицу» на канале «Аль-Джазира» российского политолога Натальи Нарочницкой. Одна из самых ярых участниц создания концепции русского мира, доверенное лицо Путина на выборах 2012 года, привыкшая комфортно себя чувствовать в срежиссированных эфирах федеральных телеканалов, на сей раз почувствовала себя в роли добычи. 67-летняя бывшая депутатка Госдумы согласилась на откровенный разговор с 36-летним британским журналистом Мехди Асаном. Такого позора Нарочницкая и вся кремлевская братья давно не испытывала. Вся программа длится 47 минут, но мы для вас выбрали ключевые ее моменты, демонстрирующие весьма интересные особенности мышления тех, для кого действия российской власти кажутся логическими и оправданными с точки зрения международного права. Существенная часть программы была посвящена действиям РФ на Ближнем Востоке, но мы остановимся на украинском вопросе.
What about Ukraine? Of course, we do care about Ukraine. My ancestors are from Ukraine. But there was a coup d'état in Kiev. The constitution was dismissed. Even the mandate of president went to the Speaker of Parliament, whether under constitution it should go to the Prime Minister. The Constitutional Court was dismissed.
Let's assume there was a coup d'etat. There's a division of opinion on that, of course, whether it was a coup or not. Crimea was taken by the Russians, annexed in violation of international law. Most lawyers would argue.
Crimea
the UN General Assembly.
And,
why do you think 100 countries at the UN condemned the annexation of Crimea? 100. Only 11 countries voted with Russia. Why do you think that is?
Because it's politics.
Politics 10 to 1.
In the 21st century. The politics in the 21st century.
It's not because that the United Nations recognizes national borders and sovereignty and says you can't just change the borders of a country. You talked about common borders.
The international law, let me just finish.
Okay.
The international law teaches now that self-determination right is observed, but the principle of territorial integrity prevails. That's true. Only, but in a case when self-determination rights are combined with so-called, it's in the textbooks of international law, when the people maintain historical, linguistic, cultural, and other types of
so on that basis, Crimea can be independent?
With the maternal state.
So you support the idea that Crimea, on this, your reading of international law, Crimea had the right to leave Ukraine and be part of Russia on the basis of self-determination?
I think so.
Okay, so when will Russia be holding a referendum in Chechnya and in Dagestan for those places to go independent?
Let them do it.
You're in support of that? You're happy for Chechnya to leave the Russian Federation and become independent or join another country?
They don't
Seriously?
want it.
They don't want it, but if they did, you support Chechen independence under a referendum in which the Chechens voted yes?
That depends always on how the people's will is expressed. If it's expressed by the bandits and gangsters and criminals,
because there were no bandits or gangsters in Crimea, were there? There were no men in masks.
No,
we just imagine those people
but
on our
if there are teachers, students, engineers, doctors voting calmly on their, expressing their free will, it's different. So don't make, Chechnya doesn't want to leave Russia. They now are flourishing more than any others. After you bombed them for several years and killed hundreds of thousands of people, I guess not. When Crimea was annexed by Russia, you said that for the first time in 20 years of political life, you felt happy. The West had pushed Russia into a corner, you said, and finally Russia has shown its red line. I'm just wondering, is the red line now fixed in place, or is it going to move geographically into other areas, perhaps in the region? That's it? Or are we going to see some more redrawing of borders in that area? Russia has proven through 25 years that it is ready and absolutely tolerating Ukraine's, floating this and that, under only one condition that was shown and obvious, that Ukraine doesn't enter NATO.
Ukraine didn't enter NATO.
Even in September, before the Maidan started, Russia has no idea what then happened, etc., and had
Ukraine
no plans.
Did not enter, Ukraine did not enter NATO.
It's the West who refused, who wanted to create from Ukraine a battlefield between East and West, and it's Americans.
You don't want Ukraine
Russia,
to join NATO.
in cooperation with Ukraine, is still a superpower, but without Ukraine, with Ukraine as enemy, is no more superpower.
Can I give some friendly advice to the Russian government via you? If you don't want your neighbour to join a military alliance, best not to invade and occupy part of that country, because the first thing they want to do is join a military alliance.
Very good. Why are you so on the side of NATO? On the
I'm
Americans?
on the side of NATO.
Yes, of course.
Maybe you should watch the show I did with the former head of NATO, where I put all these arguments to. In eastern Ukraine, are there Russian forces in eastern Ukraine?
Not Russian forces. Separate Russians, yes, but not Russian forces.
So
it's a different legally at all.
So when a Russian...
So do you mean there are, squads on parts of the army with tanks
that's
crossing?
Exactly what I'm asking.
No.
Okay, so when a Russian special forces soldier, Dmitry Shapnikov, tells the BBC that he and his fellow troops were in Ukraine, when captured soldier in Ukraine, Alexander Anatolovich, identifies himself as a Russian serviceman in the Russian armed forces, what were they doing there? Sightseeing? Taking a tour?
It is denied.
It is denied by
officials.
Do you agree with them?
I quite agree, but I believe that there are some Russian soldiers, of course, and officers. I don't deny that. But legally, every country, when it's helping the situation according to the interest and according to the appeal, they do it legally correct.
But it's not illegal for Russian soldiers to be in Ukraine, under any reading of international law.
Was it legal for American specialists in all places where they have been?
Was it legal for Americans to be in Iraq? No. Okay,
Good.
Back to the question. Was it illegal? Is it legal for Russian forces to be in Ukraine?
There are no forces.